Today in this class we are going to discuss a very important part in the ascending tracts, that is the spinothalamic tracts. Spinothalamic tracts also known as the anterolateral system. Okay, so spinothalamic tracts, it is divided into two components. There are two tracts, which is the anterior spinothalamic tract, or you can say the ventral spinothalamic tract. The second one is the lateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, so the two tracts, where it is placed, look at this diagram. Why it is known as anterolateral system also. The anterior spinothalamic tract, it is confined in the anterior white column of the spinal cord, whereas the lateral spinothalamic tract, it is confined in the lateral white column of the spinothalamic tract. Now, what are the sensation that is carried by these two tracts? The anterior or the ventral spinothalamic tracts conveys the crude touch. What is this? This is the crude touch, or you can say the light touch, not the fine touch. Fine touch was carried by the posterior column, and the crude touch by the anterior spinothalamic tract. Then comes the pressure. Then the lateral spinothalamic carries which type of sensation? There is the pain and the temperature. A very, very important pathway for the examination point of view. The pain and the temperature pathway. That means the pain and the temperature sensation are carried by the lateral spinothalamic tract, whereas the crude touch and the pressure sensation are carried by the anterior spinothalamic tract. Now look here. In this anterolateral system, this is also known as anterolateral system. So this is the ventral gray horn, and in relation with this ventral gray horn, anterior as well as lateral to that, all these modalities of sensation are carried upwards. Okay, by the lateral spinothalamic tract as well as the anterior spinothalamic tract. Now, what are how they are arranged in the anterolateral system? These sensations, the temperature, the pain, the touch and the pressure. Look here. The whole of the anterolateral system, the temperature, it is present in the lateral most, and the pressure sensation, it is present in the medial most part of the anterolateral system. And when we will consider the arrangement of the fibers from below upwards, the fibers which are coming from the sacral region or the lower limbs, they will be placed superficially. Look here. That means they will proceed towards the center, and the fibers which are coming from upper part of the body will be gradually adding on the medial side of this anterolateral system. So the formula I have made a mnemonic for you all: tadpole. Okay, so tadpole in the lateral spinothalamic tract, it is the temperature and the pain sensation, and in the anterior spinothalamic tract, it is the touch and the pressure sensation. Okay, so tadpole and the tadpole, it is like that. From superficial to deep, the lower fibers are superficially placed and the deeper fibers are medially placed or the deeply placed. So this is the arrangement of these type of sensation via the anterior and the lateral spinothalamic tracts in the anterolateral system. A wide range of information are carried to the central nervous system via this anterolateral system. Okay. Now before going in detail, we will discuss what are the receptors for these picking up these type of sensation. What are the receptors which are present here? So for the crude touch and the pressure, the receptors which pick up this crude touch and the pressure sensation are the Pacinian corpuscles. Then comes the free nerve endings, peritracheal nerve endings, and the Merkel's disc. Okay, So these are the receptors which pick up the fruit touch and the present sensation and carried via the anterior spinothalamic tract. Now, what about the pain and the temperature sensation? What are the receptors which are present in the body to pick up the pain and the temperature sensation? There in the body there are exteroceptors as well as the interoceptors as well as the proprioceptors. Okay, so the exteroceptors are the receptors which are present on the surface of the body, and the interoceptors are present inside the internal viscera, at the mucous membrane of the GIT, the blood vessels, like that. So the pain and the temperature sensation, the receptors which are present is that is the free nerve endings. So both the temperature and the pain sensation, the receptors which are present to receive this stimulus are the free nerve endings. Free nerve endings has got a wide distribution in the body. It is present in the epithelium of the dermis, epidermis, the cornea, the alimentary tract, the joints, the ligaments, anywhere. So it is present throughout the body, and the pain and the temperature sensation, it is stimulated by the stimulation of these free nerve endings. Okay. Now, if you will discuss about the thermoreceptors, especially the thermoreceptors are also present on the cutaneous surface. Thermoreceptors. What are these thermoreceptors? Which will sense the extreme temperature. That is the Ruffini's organ for the warm sensation or the hot, and the Krause and bulb for the cold sensation. Okay, these receptors are also present on the surface. So mainly we will deal with the free nerve endings which taking the both the pain and the temperature sensation. So we will discuss the how these free nerve endings are elicited, how the pain and the temperature pathway it is produced, it is stimulated by the stimulation of these free nerve endings. Okay. Now come to the pain and the temperature sensation. Look here, very important. Pain sensation, it is of two types. You can feel two types of pain. One is the fast pain and another is the slow pain. Okay. In the temperature, there are two extreme temperature, that is the cold and the hot. Okay. So what is fast pain and what is slow pain? Fast pain means sharp pain, pricking pain. The example I am giving you of the fast pain. Whenever you go in the first year physiology lab and you are asked to do your blood grouping, what you do? You simply prick your finger and you do your blood testing. The pain that you feel at that time is the sharp pricking pain. That is the example of the fast pain. The slow pain, it can be coming from the viscera in the form of colic pain, the dull pain, the throbbing pain. All are the examples of this slow pain. Okay. The fast pain, you can be localized, that will be precisely localized by the cerebral cortex. But the slow pain, it is the poorly localized there in the cerebral cortex. Okay, you can't pinpoint this type of pain, that is the slow pain, but you can pinpoint the fast pain from a finger, that the pain is coming from here. Okay, when you cut your finger, you are knowing that the pain sensation, it is coming from this part of the body, but in the slow pain you can't do that. Okay, so the fast pain and the slow pain are the two types of the pain sensation, the very important part in the this pain pathway. So depending upon the fibers, through which fibers these sensations are carried upwards into the CNS. So fast pain, it opts which temperature? Anyone? The fast pain which of cold temperature or the hot temperature? The fast pain, it will choose the cold temperature, and the slow pain, it will choose the hot temperature, and the both sensation, fast pain along with the cold, the slow pain along with the hot sensation. This fast pain will chooses the A delta fibers for the transmission of this fast pain, and the slow pain along with the hot sensation, what it will choose? It will choose the C fibers. Okay, so both the fibers are different, the A delta and the C. Now you must be able to know what are the A delta, what are the C fibers, from where these fibers are coming. I will let you know from where these fibers are coming. In the previous classes, we have learned about the classification of neurons, the nerve fibers. It is of three types: A, B and C. The three types of nerve fibers, the peripheral nerves, are categorized on the basis of their degree of myelination. The A fibers are largely myelinated, okay, and the C fibers are least myelinated, or you can say the poorly or the non-myelinated, you can say. It is non-myelinated. This is moderately myelinated. So, depending upon the myelination and the diameters, the conduction velocity of these three types of fibers are also different. The conduction velocity, it is maximum in A fibers, okay, conduction velocity, and it is least here in the C fibers, okay. In the C fibers, the rate of the conduction, it ranges from 0.5 to 2 meter per second. And here again this A fibers, it is divided into alpha, the beta, the gamma and the delta. Alpha, beta, gamma and the delta. A alpha has got the maximum speed, and through this A alpha, the fibers which are transmitting the A alpha fibers are present in the posterior column, that is the dorsal column medial lemniscus pathway, okay. So A alpha has got the maximum speed, but A delta fiber here, which we are concerned with, this A delta fiber, the speed is ranging from 6 meter to 30 meter per second. That means the fast pain, the speed of the fast pain which is carried by the A delta fiber is 6 to 30 meter per second, whereas the C fibers, the speed is 0.5 to 2 meter per second. Look here, the basic difference between the speed. That's why the fast pain which is conducted by A delta fiber, it is fast, and the slow pain, it is slow because the conduction velocity is also decreased here. So it is like that. One thing I will must say, among all these sensation, all the modalities of sensation, the pain sensation is very, very important. Okay, why? Because it alerts an individual to danger, against the danger. There is something danger, there is pain, so that you can take the protective means to prevent that pain, or you can treat it. Okay, so it is very important. So what is the fast pain? Fast pain and the slow pain, I have already dealt that. Now, how the fast pain fibers are stimulated? This is the fibers of the fast pain. That means carried by the A delta fibers. Okay, how these fibers, A delta fibers, conveying the fast pain, that is stimulated by the mechanical stimulus or the thermal stimulus. Okay, because it is also carrying along with the fast pain cold temperature. Okay, A delta fiber. But what about the C fibers? C fibers are very important. Other than the mechanical and the thermal, there are additional chemical stimulus which will excite the C fibers for the conduction of the slow pain. Okay. So, mechanical stimulus means any from the external source. If suppose my finger, my finger is injured with the hammer and I am feeling pain. That means the mechanical stimulus is elicited here. The thermal stimulus. If I dip my finger into the cold water or the hot water, I am giving the sensation of the hot and cold sensation. That is the thermal stimulus. So this type will elicit the A delta fibers. What about the chemical? The chemical, it is mainly important for the stimulation, the activation of the C fibers, which is conducting the slow pain along with the warm temperature. Isn't it? So, what are those chemical substances which will excite these receptors, that is the free nerve endings? What are those substances, the chemical substances liberated because these free nerve endings are excited by the liberation of those substances? What are those chemical substances? These are the serotonin, bradykinin, some potassium, some protons, some lactic acids, histamine. What are these? What are these substances? These are the chemical substances which are liberated at the site of the tissue damage. Suppose if this dorsum of the palm, this is injured and there is inflammation, there are inflammatory mediator substance which is liberated here. So what is the additional feature at this part of our body which is eliciting the pain? That is slow pain fibers. Okay, that C fibers. What does it do? These factors, these chemical substances, they stimulate, they will excite these free nerve endings and there will be the transmission of the slow pain through that. Okay. Plus additional two substances are also there, that is the prostaglandin and the substance P. Okay. These chemicals, the substance P and the substance P, also a neurotransmitter. So what it will do, whether it will directly stimulate these nerve endings for the transmission of the slow pain? No, it will indirectly stimulate the slow pain fibers. How? By decreasing the threshold for the pain sensation. This is the beauty of this prostaglandin and substance P. It not directly activate, stimulate the free nerve endings, rather it decreases the threshold for the pain sensation which is mediated through the C fibers. So it is like that. Now, one by one we will see how the pain fibers, the fast pain and the slow pain, is conducted to the central nervous system. To the central nervous system means the conduction of the pain fibers like this. Suppose this is the A delta fibers which is conducting what? The fast pain. What it will do? This is the pseudo unipolar neuron, that is the dorsal root ganglia, and the central process, it is coming towards the central nervous system, that is the dorsal gray horn of the spinal cord. Okay, so for the fast pain, this is the central peripheral process of the dorsal root ganglia pseudo unipolar neuron, and this is the central process of this dorsal root ganglia. So the fast pain fibers bringing the fast pain sensation, it terminates here in the dorsal gray horn neurons. Yes or no? No, it will not directly terminate here in the consecutive spinal cord. Rather, it will move upwards or it will move downwards. Before entering, whether it is the A delta fibers, also the C fibers does the same thing, as well as the fibers bringing the crude touch plus pressure. Okay, that is carried by the A delta along with the C fibers. So what these type, all the three fibers, what is do? Before entering the corresponding spinal cord segments, it bifurcates into upper and the lower branches. So suppose here is the another level of the spinal cord. It will move upward and it will synapse here at this very point, at this level of the spinal cord. It might synapse here below, one segment below. Okay, so it is not like that the same segments it is going to synapse in the neurons of the second order neurons, we will say, of the dorsal gray horn. It will move upwards by the ascending branches as well as the descending branches, and then it will synapse with the neurons which are present in the dorsal gray horn. So a local tract arrangement is made by the fibers bringing the fast pain, the slow pain, the crude touch and pressure, and these tracts which are formed as the behind the apex of the dorsal gray horn, it is known as the dorsolateral tract of Lessauer. Okay, so why it is important before knowing the detail of the pathway? Because due to the presence of this dorsolateral tract of Lessauer, if the lesion, suppose here it is on the T9 and the fibers which are coming from below upwards, if the lesion is below 9, if the lesion is on the T9 segments, the sensation will be lost from the opposite half of the body, 2 to 3 segments below. So that is why it is very important clinically also the knowing the importance of the dorsolateral tract. That means dorsolateral tract of Lessauer, it is included in which pathway? In the pain and the temperature. That means the anterolateral system. Okay, you are getting these local tracts formed by the ascending and the descending fibers of what? The central process of all these fibers which are bringing the fast pain, the slow pain and the crude touch and the pressure sensation. Okay, so it is like that. This is the tract of Lessauer you get. Now, in the central nervous system, how the pain fibers are conducted, we will see. Fast pain. What does the fast pain? A delta fiber, this is the fast pain. Okay, the central process of this first order neuron here enters in the, it might be the upper one segment above or below, as I just right now. So this central process, it will terminate in the second order neuron, in this dorsal gray horn. Okay, in which lamina? The second lamina, which contains what? The substantia gelatinosa. Okay, at the site of the termination, when it synapses with the second order neuron, the neurons which are present in the substantia gelatinosa, the A delta fibers, it will liberate a substance which is the local neurotransmitter, which is the fast acting neurotransmitter, that is the glutamate. Okay, this will release the glutamate at the site of the synapse here, and they will excite it, and the axons which will emerge from this second order neuron will immediately cross by passing through the anterior gray commissure and the anterior white commissure, and that will move to the contralateral white column, and then it ascends upwards, that in the form of the lateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, then what about the slow pain? What it will do? That means due to this fast acting local neurotransmitter, the A delta fibers are going to the cerebral cortex within 0.1 second. Fast acting neurotransmitter that is present in the A delta fiber, that is the glutamate, and the pain stimulus, it is transmitted within 1.1 second to the cerebral cortex. That's why it is fast. But what about the slow pain fibers? What does it do in the conduction of the central nervous system? The slow pain fibers, the C fibers. Again, this also ascends and descends upwards. It bifurcates, we have seen. So, suppose this C fibers, which is carrying the slow pain, when it comes towards the the dorsal gray horn, what does it do? It terminates where? Again in the Rexed lamina 2, that is the substantia gelatinosa, where it is present. Okay. But this fiber, the C fibers, are knotty. Why? Because here, in spite of synapsing with one single neuron, there are the cascade of neurons. It might synapse here, it will synapse with this neuron, again this will synapse here. So many multiple neurons it will synapse, and finally the second order neurons which comes out will cross to the opposite side in the lateral white column and the lateral spinothalamic tract and ascends upwards, which conducts the slow pain. But what does it do here? It liberates, not like the neurotransmitter glutamate, it releases substance P. The slow pain fibers release substance P, and the nature of the substance P, it is slow releasing. It is not the fast releasing, rather it is slow releasing factor, and it is diffusely spread here in the multiple neurons. That's why it takes more time to reach the cerebral cortex for the appreciation, the precise appreciation of this type of pain sensation, and it takes more than 1 second, more than 1 second, more than time for than the fast pain. Okay, that's why you will able to learn here why the fast pain it is received in the cerebral cortex before the slow pain. Okay, because it is the knotty one, it is not it is engaged in doing some other work here, multiple neurons it is relaying here, and then it is finally coming out and going upwards. That's why the slow pain is taking more time to be perceived in the cerebral cortex. It is like that. So, substance P, it is the neurotransmitter which is released from the C fibers at the site of the synapse with the second order neuron, and it also gets the multiple relay here, and finally it comes out going up opposite to the contralateral side and moves upwards in the lateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, it is like that. Now we will come to the pathways, how they are arranged inside the spinal cord. Look here. Suppose, because in the anterolateral system we have discussed all the fibers are moving upwards. So suppose this is the fibers of the crude touch and pressure. Okay, the receptors for the crude touch and pressure. This is the peripheral process, this is the dorsal root ganglia, this is the central process. This central process bringing the crude touch and the pressure sensation, where it is going in the dorsal gray horn, neurons of the dorsal gray horn, where it synapse here. Okay, it synapse here, and with the second order neuron and the axons which are coming from this second order neuron. What it will do? Because this is the fibers which is bringing the crude touch and pressure. So where it will be placed here? It will be placed here after crossing to the contralateral side in the anterior white column, and then it moves upwards. Okay. This is the what? This is the anterior spinothalamic tract. That means anterior spinothalamic tract, which is bringing the crude touch and the pressure, it is placed where? It is placed in the anterior funiculus of the spinal cord, Suppose it is the sensation, it is coming from the right side, so it will cross to the left side, contralateral side. So this is the anterior spinothalamic tract, which is placed in the anterior white column. Now come to the pain fibers. First, for the fast pain. Fast pain. Fast pain, again this is the dorsal root ganglia, the pseudonuclear node, this is the peripheral process, and this is the central process. So after synapsing here with the second order neuron, this A delta fiber for the fast pain, what it will do? After synapsing with the second order neuron, it will cross the anterior grey commissure, white commissure, and finally it will move to the contralateral side and move upwards. Okay, so this is the lateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, what is this? This is the lateral spinothalamic tract. Now, where you will place the fibers of the slow pain? Look here. The slow pain fibers, which is conducted via the C fibers, when it moves inside the spinal cord, it terminates here in the multiple neurons, and finally it comes out and move to the contralateral side again and ascends upwards in the lateral column. Okay, so what are the tracts now? What are the tracts you are getting here? This is the anterior spinothalamic tract, and both of them are the lateral spinothalamic tract. Okay, so this red one and this black one, this is the A delta fiber, black one, this is the fast pain, and the red one, it is the fibers which is conducting the slow pain. Okay, now here a very important terminology you will have to see. This slow pain and the fast pain, it has got the concept of newer and older. Okay, so the fast pain, it is of the newer concept, and the slow pain, it is of the older concept. That's why the nomenclature of this slow pain is paleo-spinothalamic tract, and this fast pain, it is the neo-spinothalamic tract. So all together the paleo and the neo-spinothalamic tract. The neo-spinothalamic tract, it is for the fast pain, and the paleo, it is for the older concept which is carrying the slow pain fibers. It is like that. Now the nomenclature we will see here. What is the spinal lemniscus? What is the spinal lemniscus? Isn't it? What is spinal lemniscus? Spinal lemniscus here is all the bundles of the fibers, the spinothalamic tract, anterior or the lateral, at the level of this medulla oblongata, it converges into a single bundle here. It converges here into a single bundle like that, and then ascends upwards. Okay, it's like that. Then it ascends upwards. These common bundle which is formed, which is converged together, all the three tracts here, the paleo-spinothalamic tract, that is the lateral spinothalamic tract, and the anterior spinothalamic tract, it is known as spinal lemniscus. Okay, it is known as the spinal lemniscus here. There is one more tract here which will be included along with the spinal lemniscus, is the spinotectal tract. That will be the spinotectal tract, which is included in this spinal lemniscus along with the spinothalamic tracts. Okay, now Now, the fibers which are ascending upwards, the spinothalamic tract fibers, where does they terminate in their pathway? Look here. This blue color, this is the ventrals or the anterior spinothalamic tract. The second order was originating from the substantia gelatinosa, and the third order neuron, it is present here in the thalamus. What are the nucleus here? That is the ventro-posterolateral nucleus, VPL. That is the ventro-posterolateral nucleus of the thalamus. Okay. This is the third order neuron for the anterior spinothalamic tract, and the fibers terminate here in the thalamus. The axons which are emerging from this third order neuron, they passes and supplies through the corona radiata to the different cerebral area, that is the somatosensory area. Somatosensory area. Area number 1 plus area number 2. So these third order neurons, it passes to the somatosensory area and area number 2 via this, the internal capsule. What is that? This green color structure, this is the internal capsule which has got the anterior limb as well as the posterior limb. So the third order neuron fibers, it passes through the posterior limb and they are supplying, going to the somatosensory area or the post-central gyrus of the cerebral cortex. Now, what about the neo? That is the fibers which are carrying the fast pain. These fast pain fibers, where it will terminate? This fast pain fiber, majority of the fibers, it is going and terminating again in the ventroposterolateral nucleus inside the thalamus, and from there the third order neuron fibers are emerging and coming out and supplying, going to the somatosensory area 1 and 2 and carrying what? The fast sensation fibers. Okay, but some of the fibers, it is also terminating here in the, what is this red color structure here? This is the reticular formation, a very important structure in this pathway, that is the reticular formation. It is the midline structure complex of the neurons and the white matters in the midline structure of the brainstem, midbrain, pons and the medulla oblongata, it is placed, a very important part. So majority of the fibers terminate in the ventroposterolateral nucleus, but some part, it is also the collateral branches from these fast pain fibers are terminating over the reticular formation also, isn't it? So what about this slow pain? In this pathway, what does the slow pain does? Slow pain, maximum fibers, it gives the collaterals, and 85%, I will say 85 to 90% fibers, it terminates in the reticular formation here before going into the thalamus. Only 15% of the fibers, it is reaching the thalamus, but where it is terminating, a very important point here, it is going to the specific nucleus, anterior nucleus, as well as the, look here, this is the Y-shaped structure which is known as the intramedullary lamina of the thalamus, on which the red color, these are the nucleus which are known as the intralaminar nuclei. So the 15% fibers conducting the slow pain, it is terminating in the specific and non-specific nucleus of the intralaminar nucleus. Mainly it is the centromedian nucleus of the intralaminar lamina, centromedian, which is the largest nucleus. Centromedullary nucleus of the intramedullary lamina there. Though fibers terminate. What does it do now? Again, the third order neuron fibers arises from here, and it is going to the post-central sulcus, that again the somatosensory area 1 and the 2. But this is not only the story of this slow pain fibers which are terminating in the thalamus, because pain sensation, it is a very complex pathway. It has got multiple aspects. Okay, one of the aspects, it is related with the emotional as well as the autonomic responses to the pain. So that's why there must be connection of this pain fibers to those areas. Okay, that's why the slow pain fibers, some of the fibers, where does this go? It goes to the very important gyrus here, which is known as the cingulate gyrus. A very important gyrus, which is the part of the limbic system also. And this cingulate gyrus, it will terminate here, the slow pain fibers, after emerging from this intralaminar nucleus. So it will terminate here in the cingulate gyrus also. For what purpose? For the emotional aspect of the pain. So the pain has got also the emotional aspect. So it is like that. Some fibers of the slow pain fibers also, it is terminating here in the insular cortex. Here it is the insular cortex, insular cortex. And this insular cortex, it is, what is insula? It is the submerged hidden part of the cerebral cortex in the stem of the lateral sulcus. The areas which are present here, what does it do? It gives the autonomic response to the pain sensation. That's why the slow pain fibers are also terminating in the insula. For what purpose? For getting the, sometimes there is the nauseating tendency, the belching, like that. So that's why the insular cortex, it is responsible for that, because the pain fibers are also connected with those insular cortex. It is like that. Now, whenever there is pain, the heart rate, the blood pressure also increases. Why it is like that? So look here, there is another structure here. This green color, this is the hypothalamus. And you know, hypothalamus, it is concerned with the autonomic responses of the body, the blood pressure, increase the blood pressure, the heart rate. Whenever they are in pain, the heart rate and the blood pressure, these things are increased. Why? Because some fibers also go here and terminate in the hypothalamus. So that fibers will be known as the spinohypothalamic tracts. Okay. So this was the beauty of the slow pain fibers. Maximum termination, it is present here in the reticular formation. And from here what happens? After this termination, the reticular fibers, they will ascend upwards, and where it will go? It will go again and will be connected with the intralaminar nuclei of the thalamus, and from that the nerve fibers originates, and it supplies the different areas of the cortex, and they will tell that there is the pain sensation. Alert the cerebral cortex for the pain sensation. So whenever this is the fact, what is the function of this reticular formation in relation with the pain sensation? If the reticular formation, it alerts the cerebral cortex, it awakes the cerebral cortex. It is related with the arousal phenomenon of the cerebral cortex. Whenever the pain sensation is coming here and the fibers are terminating in the reticular formation, this reticular formation sends the impulses via the intralaminar nuclei to the cerebral cortex and makes the cerebral alert that there is the pain. That's why sometimes in the pain you are not able to sleep when you are in pain. That's why, because there is a constant bombardment via the reticular formation to the cerebral cortex via this intralaminar nuclei. Okay. So these were the different aspects of the mode of the termination of the pain fibers here in the brainstem. So there are these spinothalamic tracts. There are some other tracts which are also the component of the anterolateral system. Okay. What are those tracts? Those tracts are the spinotectal tracts, spinoreticular tracts, spinomesencephalic, cephalic tracts. Okay. What is spinorectal, tectal, spinoreticular, spinomesencephalic, and the spinohypothalamic also. Spino, we had deal that track there. Spinohypothalamic tract. Okay. So what are these? From where these tracts are coming? So these tracts are coming from this the spinothalamic tracts. Some collaterals from the ascending this pathway are given to the superior colliculus. Look here, this red color structure. What is this? This is the superior colliculus which are present in the midbrain. Midbrain has got two pair of colliculi on the dorsal aspect. Upper pair is the superior colliculus and the lower pair is the inferior colliculus. Mainly the superior colliculus, it is concerned with the spinovisual reflex. What this tract it is mainly concerned, it is mainly concerned with the spinovisual reflex. That means you are turning your eye, the neck, the head towards the stimulus. So this tract it is concerned with the superior colliculus. How it is formed? So the collaterals which are coming upwards, the fibers, they give collaterals to these superior colliculus. Okay. So some collaterals are given to the superior colliculus, that is the part of the midbrain, and it is present in the tectum of the midbrain. That's why the name of the tract is spinotectal tract, and it is concerned mainly with the spinovisual reflex other than the pain and the temperature. Now the spinoreticular tracts. What are the spinoreticular tracts? From where it is coming? Spinoreticular, that means suppose these C fibers, it is mainly crossing to the opposite side, but some fibers it doesn't cross, it remains the same side. It will not cross and it will ascend upwards and it will terminate here in the reticular formation. A very little amount of the fibers, that is known as the spinoreticular fibers, that is unilateral. Okay. It is not going to the contralaterals, it remains ipsilateral and terminate in the reticular formation. That is the fibers which are conducting the slow pain. So this is the spinoreticular tract. Now spinomesencephalic tract. Some collaterals, look here, some collaterals from these pathway, the ascending tracts of the spinothalamic tract, it is terminating to the very important nucleus, the green color. It is known as what? The parabrachial nucleus here. This green color nucleus, it is the parabrachial nucleus. So, what is the importance of this parabrachial nucleus? It is receiving some of the collaterals here. You will draw the diagram here. It will receive the collaterals. It is receiving the collaterals, okay, from the ascending pathway, and this parabrachial nucleus, it is connected to which part of the cerebral cortex? A very important part. It will ascend upwards and it will relate where? In the very important area of the cerebral cortex which is known as the amygdala nucleus. So this amygdala nucleus, it is very important. It deals with the fear, the anger, the aspects of the painful stimuli. So this is the role of the amygdala nucleus, and via the parabrachial nucleus these collaterals are going to the amygdala nucleus for the fear, the anger aspects of the pain. Now the spinohypothalamic tract we have dealt here. There is the hypothalamus just below the thalamus, and some collaterals are given to the hypothalamus, and that will be dealing with the autonomic response, that is the increase of the blood pressure, the respiratory rate, the heart rate, that like that. So these were the different relations, the different fibers, how they are, the networking of the pain fibers in their pathway, how they are interconnected with the different areas of the brainstem as well as the cerebral cortex. So this was all up to the pain and the temperature pathway, along with the crude and the pressure, crude touch and the pressure sensation via the anterior spinothalamic tract. Or that means we have completed all the anterolateral system here. So in the next class we will deal with the how this pain pathway are modulated. There is an inbuilt structure inside the brainstem here. So you will just remember this diagram for the next class. There are some structure here in the inside the spinal cord, some important structure in the brainstem which are capable for modulating the pain sensation. That is known as the gate control theory and the descending analgesic theory, which is the inbuilt part of the central nervous system. So we will, in the next class, we will deal the pain modulation theory. Okay, thank you.